And welcome to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of February 19th. I'm telling you, 2018 is flying by us as we speak. So let's plant our feet in the ground, get our head on straight, let's get to work, and let's do what has to be done. I don't know if you have personally attended any of our MFO events. We do about 24 to 26 events throughout North America per year. Like, for example, last week we had a great event with 400 people in Vancouver, BC, a 3-day listing workshop. I don't know if you're attending, but if you do attend, I want to throw a thought at you. Every event we do, production retreat, management retreat, superstar retreat, mini retreats, action workshops, the sales talk, productivity school, listing workshop, we give a certain number of very specific sales points that you're going to walk away with. And you're going to walk away with a book full of very specific sales points. Now, let's stop. I'm not trying to sell you on going to an event. If you go to an event, I'm thrilled, and hopefully you will be too. But what I want to mention to you, the points are always going to be pre-printed in the workbook for you. It's what I say, and it's what our speakers say between the points, which is the greatest growing experience that you as a real estate professional can have. Why do I say that? Because the MFO sales system, and I've covered some of that with you the last several weeks and will continue covering that, is very specific as to what you have to do to succeed in real estate. The question, of course, is, are you willing to do what we teach? Knowing that what we teach is much more difficult, harder to execute than almost any of our competitors. Why? Because they want you to feel good, they want you to be happy, they want you to like them. I don't want you to feel good. I'm not interested in how happy you are. I'm interested in how productive you are. And to be productive, you have to have a system to follow. Well, what I want to do today is, after each major event that I do, production retreat, superstar retreat, I ask our attendees, carefully go through that book of notes. And whether it be the point I gave or the point I gave between the points that I gave, tell me the best 10 things you've learned. I covered some of them last week with Apple, and you saw that. Well, this week I got a great response from Bobby Johnson, one of our clients. He said, "Thank you for another great learning experience, Mike. Here's my top 10 takeaways." And I want you to listen to these top 10 very carefully. Number 1, widening the gap is opening the perception of what you can do to improve. Okay. I spent 3 days working on widening the gap for what you can accomplish and what you can do. Now, why do I say it that? We each have a self-image. We each have a perception of what we can accomplish in real estate, on how many listings we can take, how many sales we can make, how much money we can earn. I spent one full day in trying to widen the perception of the entire audience. There were 2,115 people in the room, trying to widen the perception so they could see the opportunities before them. Why do I say it that way? Because you're working in a real estate office with a good broker. You guys have a good reputation. You're working hard, but most agents in your marketplace, some in your office, never work. So the opportunities for you are bigger than ever. Why? Because most people aren't working. Widening the gap is opening the perception of what you can do to improve. Number 2, I said to the audience, read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Go online, find it, read it. It's one of the best books ever written on helping you understand how you operate in your day-to-day business. But then I said, read the book Psycho-Cybernetics number 2, which was written by, I think it was either 2 or 3 young authors that took the original book from the 60s and updated it. I believe that Maxwell Maltz hit upon some very important sales tips, points, thoughts for you and I to use. The book Psycho-Cybernetics talks about why the mind works the way it works. It's not complicated, it's very simple. What you put in is what comes out, whether it be words or actions. So I said to the audience, and Bobby said, Mike says it's one of the great books of all time. It's one of the great books of all time. Number 3, there's a direct correlation between the service I give and the money I earn. I think everybody would like to improve the quality of their life. All of you want to do it. We're here to help you if you're interested in doing that. To improve the quality of your life requires more money. How do I earn more money? Improve the quality of the service I offer. I talked to an agent last week. Goes on 15 listing presentations in an average month, takes 4 listings. That means there are 11 to 12 sellers per month that don't think the service being presented has any value, therefore they're not going to sign a contract and pay a commission. And yet, if you come to Mike Ferry events, you'll meet agents every day that go on 10 listing presentations a month and take 8 listings because the seller sees the value, all right? I want to earn more money than perfect the quality of the service. For you and I, the perfection of the quality of service is based upon the quality of the skills we have. The quality of skills depend upon what words we use and what actions we take. Number 4, remove the label we set on ourselves. Don't label people and don't label yourself. I started the retreat a few weeks ago by saying it is normal for human beings to put a label on their own forehead. And that label is, I'm not as good as she is. I'll never be as productive as he is. I'll never make a lot of money. I wasn't very good in school. I'm not the brightest bulb in the pack. I've never been successful. What I said to this audience was, remove that label, because it's a label that once you put those words into your subconscious mind, they stay with you and they grow and they fester. And pretty soon they run your life. But we also label people. We walk into a house. Oh, this house will never sell. We talk to a potential buyer on the phone. They're not going to be qualified. Look at the car they drove to come in to look at property. Okay? What I talk to the audience about, remove the label, and the faster you remove the label, the higher the productivity you will have. Number 5, the first lesson, Bobby, thank you for this one. The first lesson in becoming great is realizing we can't win all the time. Nobody wins all the time. It's impossible. The greatest athletes, okay, the greatest Olympians, which we are experiencing as we speak, the greatest at anything doesn't win all the time. Real estate agents think they should go on 5 presentations, get 5 listings without a script, without a knowledge of the market, without a knowledge of the seller, without pre-qualifying. The greatest advantage you have is understanding that even as good as you can become, you're only going to win on a listing 75% of the time. So you have to learn to accept failure as part of the winning process. Number 6, to narrow the gap. Now remember, back before we said widen the gap. Now we're saying to narrow the gap, to close the gap, work every day on your skills and enthusiasm. Okay, so watch. Widen the gap, more opportunities. Narrow the gap, get better at a listing presentation. So instead of getting 4 out of 10, you can get 8 out of 10. Same amount of money expended, same amount of time expended, much higher return. Number 7, get wrinkles on your face from smiling during your listing presentation. Isn't that interesting that Bobby wrote that down as a key point? Get wrinkles on your face from smiling on your listing presentation. I was talking to the audience about the fact that listing property is a stressful time for everybody. And that stress that we create preparing, driving over, knocking on the door, walking in, making the presentation, that stress can become pretty intense. And we have to learn to lighten everything up a little bit, to smile, to nod your head, to feel comfortable being silly, to be a little goofy, maybe to tell a story, to share something that happened where you look silly, to break some of the tension. You got to learn to smile, because guess what? You can get them removed if you make enough money. If you don't, you can't get them removed. Number 8, talk less to get paid more. What we talked about, and Bobby caught it very clearly, the longer you stay on a listing presentation, the less money you're going to get paid. The longer you stay, the less contracts you get signed. Because you talk too much, and as the song goes, you worry me to death. You talk too much, and it actually discourages them from signing a contract. Why do we teach you to ask questions and not talk? Because questions command a response, and questions bring a conclusion, and a conclusion shortens the length of time you spend with the seller. Number 9 from Bobby, commit more time than ever to a really strong schedule. Don't allow the world to take me off my schedule. Bobby, thank you, and thank you for that thought, okay? Folks, the economy is not better or worse. It's neutral. What's worse is obviously the number of homes for sale. We're dealing with that now for almost 2 years. Projected out, it's going to be that way for a while. Therefore, our ability to perform activities to bring listings every single minute of every day is more critical than ever. If that is the case, then a schedule is critical. Number 10 on his list, I must keep my production and financial goals in front of me at all times. I review them once a week. It will pull me closer to them. Earl Nightingale said, you become what you think about most of the time, okay? You become what you think about most of the time. Okay, watch. Napoleon Hill said, what the mind of man can conceive and believe they can achieve. Well, if you keep your production and financial goals in front of you and you're looking at them all the time, it's going to naturally draw you to them. Either you're going to change them, throw them away, or attain them. The choice is yours. So, Bobby Johnson, thank you for your response to the production retreat. And what I want all of you to think about is this, okay? We have events that are created to help you sell more real estate. Yes, the MFTV, the 700 or 800 YouTube videos we have are good learning experiences. Strongly consider in 2018 attending a minimum of the Superstar Retreat in July and at least one other event for yourself. Call our office, get registered, get it done, and get more good ideas like Bobby had today. Thank you. Talk to you next week.